Lance Ulanoff, editor-in-chief, LifeWire. Lance, good to talk with you. First of all, the hack, I think, was a terrible. Obviously, nobody likes that kind of PR. And last I read, it was actually somebody from the inside. I mean, that does not bode well. The good news is the users added, which it seems that they're organic, but it's the sustainability that's a question to continue to have user growth. What are your thoughts on Twitter as you look at this and you break it down?
Right. Well, obviously, that big hack we talked about, probably no impact on the recent earnings report because it just happened. And we do know that, it sounds like, someone from the inside got hacked with kind of a phishing attack. As far as how they're performing, I mean, look, this is what you want to see, a source of information, a lot of eyeballs, millions of eyeballs turn to them during this very difficult time because, a lot of people, and for instance, Jack talked about 150 million accounts turn to Twitter's COVID-19 response resource page. So, to resources. So they're looking to Twitter for real-time information. At the same time, Twitter has made some really aggressive moves to polish and improve the quality of information on the service itself. It took itself out of the political ad game. It just shut down QAnon. So it's doing some things and making what I consider aggressive moves that may position it well to capitalize on what could be a little bit of momentum.
So those are some good things. If to capitalize on the momentum, at least making some of those moves. I mean, your words were that it needs some big innovation and a stronger plan. Yeah. Are they doing enough?
Well, look, I think that there was a joke I think that they put out there that we'll get editable tweets when everybody wears a mask. I want innovation like that now. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But I think that they have to look. Twitter has never been, for example, as big as Facebook, and it has struggled with its monthly active user growth over time. It's gotten better, but this is a time of extreme change, and it's kind of almost reintroducing itself to the world because the world is so different. So, for example, sports is just coming back. How will Twitter capitalize on that moment? Sports in a very different way where fans are not in the stands. Are more people going to be watching through social media? How will Twitter capitalize on that? They're also looking at premium services, which is a very big shift if it happens. But Jack basically was like, we're not jumping into this thing with both feet. We're going to do some tests here. The good news is that their infrastructure is now set up for a lot more cool tests. For example, they recently gave some users the ability to record video on their tweets. I don't have this ability yet. They're not rolling it out fast enough, but it is that kind of innovation that I want to see a whole lot more of.
So, obviously sports is a big thing. I remember when they were streaming, I think it was Thursday Night Football, and how are people going to watch sports? And that's a great question. I also saw that the minutes that people were on went up, and that was some good news, right? 186 minutes versus 139 minutes. That's people are on there for longer. I mean, that's also some good news too, right? But the question that I pose to you is the long-term outlook for this company. Does it survive? Is it a takeover target? What is the outlook in 5 years from now? Is Twitter great? I mean, it's sitting at $38. In 5 years from now, we're going to say, wow, Twitter, it's $100. Or I know you're not a stock guy, but no. What do you think? I mean, is this something that everybody's going to use and is going to have growth, or it's going to have a lot of bumpy roads ahead?
Well, look, Twitter's always had bumpy roads. I think, as far as is it an acquisition target? I think that, most companies are always, there's always conversations about companies that have such high visibility. Twitter is not a behind the scenes entity. Everybody knows about it. Everybody talks about it. So many people turn to it for their daily news and information. But what the trajectory it takes, it's so hard to tell. Look, our Twitter president, the president who has loved Twitter more than anyone, could be out of a job in November, or he could be in the job for another 4 years. That actually, I believe, will have an impact on the trajectory of Twitter because it is like a focal point for the discourse about what is happening with the administration, what is happening with policy, what is happening with the COVID response. And So all of those things are tied together, and Twitter is the place. When you talk about the amount of time people are spending on it, and the growth year over year, it is all because of that. It's all because of this mix of things. So I I wish I had a crystal ball, but we are in such a unique time that I can barely see past the next 6 months. What I would say is I feel like this is good news for Twitter. I think that it is doing a little bit of a bounce back. I think advertisers love the idea that people are spending more time on it. And I think that cleaning the slate and saying no political ads is actually going to help them and probably attract even more advertisers in the near term.
Right, right. No, I know what you mean. I mean, I hate watching the video awards and then being bombarded with everybody's political views. You know, when I'm watching business news, I want to look at my stocks. When I'm watching the video awards, I want to see cool costumes, cool music, and, you know, these great performers. So you're right. I get what you're saying. Last quick thought. I got about 10 seconds left of the others from Snap to Facebook. What do you love going forward? Quickly.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Facebook with the stop, profiting from hate campaign. That's, maybe impacting its bottom line. I don't know, but that's really the one I've got to watch.
All right, Lance Ulanoff, thank you so much. Editor-in-Chief of LifeWire. Thanks.